Alrighty. Again, just for clarification, just my notes to make sure I remember all of the postures that we're trying to go over. My chicken today is Michelle. We are going to be doing our springboard. We already confirmed that she's okay with tactile cues. There's no modification. She's not pregnant. She doesn't have osteoporosis. There's no other kind of extenuating medical issues that would pull her away from the norm. So we are doing the springboard on the Cadillac today, so it's not going to be the classic levels 1 to 11. So the first thing we're going to do is side lying series, and I had set it up for her ahead of time. I had her sitting down on the bed of the Cadillac and adjusted it to shoulder height, which is essentially what it would be outside if we had it at a level 3 or 4, like we normally do for footwork. And the Elo springs are already hooked up to the top of the Cadillac bars, ready to go for our arm work, which is either going to be set at a level 8 or shoulder height, which luckily for us two is usually about the same thing. So that was an easy one to kind of put together. So Michelle, I'm going to have you doing side laying series. Do you want a ball or a block or anything to put underneath your head?
No, I'll be on it.
Wonderful. So you're going to be laying with your head towards the spine corrector. So you're going to be on your left hip.
Am I back far enough? Or?
Yep, you're back far enough. I mean, the closer you are to this edge, the lighter the spring's going to feel. Farther down you are towards the fuzzy straps, more cumbersome it's going to feel. I did hit record, right? I think so. Okay, just checking. Just kidding. So what we're going to do is we're going to take the purple string. So footwork is done with one purple spring on the springboard. What I'd like you to do is flex the top knee. So flex your left knee. You're going to take the outer spring with your top hand and slip it over the arch of the foot. Good job. You're going to extend the leg straight out and then bring it back into tabletop just to kind of get a sense of the springs. So the first move that we're going to do is the lower and lift. So you want to straighten out both legs, so both feet are dorsiflexed, both knees and both hips are nice and extended. Your hips are stacked beautifully on top of each other. Just lift this shoulder up 1 inch grip. You want stabilization in those shoulder blades, so just hold that state. Arm is down in front of you. That's going to help stop you from rocking back and forth and coming out of alignment. So for this first one, we're going to simply do a lower lift. So you're going to abduct the leg to hip height, and then adduct, bring it back down to meet the lower hip. Abduct to bring it up to hip height, lowering back down, feeling the movement from this section of that hip flexor and the hip joint. One more. Good job. We're going to hold our top hip slightly adducted, so right at hip height, so right about here. You're going to try to keep it at this level. We're going to start our bends and straightens. So you're going to flex that knee, bringing it into essentially a tabletop, then pressing through the sole of the right foot to bring the leg out straight. You're going to flex that top right knee, bringing it to the bends, and then pushing through the sole of that top foot, extending that knee, bringing it straight. We got one more. We're going to bend that top knee, and then push through the sole of the feet, bringing it straight. Well done. You can go ahead and bend that top knee and take that purple strap out of the top of your foot. It's amazing how fast these go when we only do 3 rounds.
Yeah, I know.
So now, however you feel comfortable, go ahead and hold on to the sides of the reformer. We're going to come into standing, and we're going to use the yellow straps for our arms. So we're going to start, once you get up there and you're nice and comfortable, you're going to be about hip distance or about 1 step away from these straps. You're going to turn to face me. So you're going to pick up this front strap. You're going to bring it to your center line. So you want to move slightly away so that the spring is taut, but that there's no real tension on it yet. You want to have both of those elbows nice and flexed. Hands are right on top of each other, just like you have them. You want to be one nice tall line from the crown of the head reaching up towards the ceiling, straight line from the shoulder to the hip to the ankles, just like you have it now. We're going to work on our obliques at this point, our rotation. So you want to keep everything from that waist to your heels nice and stable, right? So that's where the weight is. You can slightly bend the knees to make sure that you have the stability. Then you're going to rotate using those obliques, turning towards the fuzzy strings, then coming back to center. If there's not enough tension, feel free to take a half step closer to the fuzzy straps. Then try again. We're moving just from the waistline up so that you feel the tension in those obliques coming back to center. One more. Turning towards the fuzzy straps, coming back to center. Good job. So we're going to take the strap just in the hand that is closest to the springboard. You're going to want to step out about a half step. One more step. Arm is out straight by your side. Take it one more step out. There we go. So you want to have about a 45-degree angle from your shoulder to that hand, nice and straight with the spring out. So we're going to do some adduction here. Okay, so you're going to keep that arm nice and straight. You're going to press through the palm of the hand, bringing the hand down to your thigh. Then you're going to abduct, letting the spring pull the arm back up, nice and in control. Trying to stay nice and straight and tall from the center line, pressing down as you exhale. Then releasing the tension nice and slow as you inhale. Last one, you're going to push through the hands to abduct. And then raise nice and slow. Good job. Now we're going to come closer to the springboard, or to the rails, I should say. We're going to go ahead and turn to face the springboard. We're going to have one hand in each, one strap in each hand. So you're going to walk back slightly just so that the springs are nice and straight, not any tension on them. Back is nice and straight. Reaching up from the crown of the head, weight equally distributed between the left and the right foot. Pelvis is in neutral. Engage that core. Don't flare the rib cage. And then with straight arms, keeping those shoulders nice and down, you want scapular stabilization. You're going to push through the palms of the hands to bring the hands slightly back behind your thighs, then bring them back forward to release the tension. You're going to push through the hands to bring the hands past your hips, then bring them back to the start. One more, push back, let's hold here and just pulse 3 little pulses. 1, 2, 3, and then lower back, nice and slow. Woo, good job. Plenty of variations you can do with that. You can do one at each time to really get into the stabilization, isolate your obliques. You can hold back, you can do the 3 pulses, then you can hold, look to the front of the room, center, back of the room, center. So lots of things that you can do there while you're working and activating that. So now we're going to do the actual reverse. So you're perfectly lined up, so you're facing the fuzzy straps. You're going to reach behind you, grabbing one strap at a time. And we're literally going to do the exact opposite. So we're going to keep the arms nice and straight, slight bend in both knees. Going to keep those shoulders nice and down, chest is proud, so that you have a nice straight back, no tension in the neck. You're going to take a nice big inhale, and as you exhale, you're going to keep those arms nice and straight. As you bring the arms in front of you up to shoulder height if you can, then lowering back down, nice and in control. We have 2 more. As you exhale, push through the handles, bringing the arms back up to shoulder height. Lowering back down, nice and in control. I know it's a burn. Last one, pushing through the handles to bring the arms up to shoulder height. Keep the core engaged, and we lower back down. Woo! You can go ahead and release the tension. Good job. So from there, we are actually going to change this slightly, because that is probably more at a level 9 or 10. So I'm going to raise this bar just so that it's a little bit more in line with what an 8 would be. We get rid of this purple. I'm going to bring the yellows down. We're going to use my favorite prop again, which is the dowel bar, but this time I'm actually going to hook it onto, don't worry, Kate, go ahead and fire the rose, just got too on that in a second. Dowel bar. So, because there's no springboard in front of us, you're going to be sitting facing in this direction. So normally you'd have that lower ballet bar there where you could put your feet up against so that you wouldn't be sliding. We obviously don't have it here, and the last thing I want is for you to go sliding, right? So you're gonna put your feet flat up against each one of these bars. So we're gonna do the roll down from around the world. So I'm gonna go ahead and help you hold on to that bar. So hands are wide, palms are down, just like they are. So this has 5 motions in it. Rotate, lean. We're gonna curl the tail to switch sides, unlean, unrotate, right? So the first thing we're gonna do is rotate towards me, rotate towards the left, right. As you rotate towards the right, you're gonna lean out, letting that left hip come up, keeping the arms straight for now. And then as you tuck the pelvis to roll to the other side, you're gonna bring the arms in for support. Coming onto the other side, so you're in the lean. So you're gonna come out of the lean, so you're still rotated. And then you're gonna come back to center in the rotation. Now we go the other way. We're gonna rotate towards the left. Then you're gonna lean out, letting this right hip come up off the mat. Then you're gonna bring the arms towards your chest as you tuck the pelvis and roll over onto the right side. Then you're gonna come out of the lean, stay in the rotation, then unrotate, coming back to neutral. Good job. Let the arms extend. We're gonna do it one more time. So let's start from the other side this time. We're gonna rotate to the left. You're gonna lean out, letting the right hip come up. Then you're gonna pull the arms to your chest as you curve your back. Just go from the left to the right. Then when you're on the right, you're gonna come out of the lean. Then you're gonna come out of the rotation. Arms extend out in front. Okay?
Yeah.
Feels good?
Yeah.
All right, awesome. Last little portion here, we are going to do the roll down with the back extension. So let's do a regular roll down for start. So we're sitting up nice and straight, arms are nice and wide on the dowel bar. She is nice and stable, shoulders are stacked over her hips, legs are extended, feet are pressed up for safety against the bars of the Cadillac. So the first thing she's gonna do is start to tuck the chin, and then tuck the pelvis, rolling down one vertebrae at a time. Rolling all the way down, head is gonna come onto the mat. Pause there for a moment. And then we're gonna come out the way that we came in, so gently tuck the chin. It doesn't have to actually touch the chest. We start to roll up one vertebrae at a time. Coming back up to seated. Beautiful. Now that we have that down, we're gonna do one direction the same way, and then we're gonna change something when we come out. We're gonna add in a spinal extension. So we're gonna start the same way. Tuck the pelvis, arms are nice and straight, core is engaged. We roll down. 1, 2, 3 vertebrae, all the way down. Head touches the mat. Now this time I want you to come into a slight spinal extension. So the thoracic spine essentially lifts up. That's perfect. You want your head back a little bit, but no pes head. So I don't want you to feel any pressure in the neck. You want to keep that extension in the back, just like it is. So you're gonna go ahead and gently bend the elbows. So flex the elbows to give yourself a little bit more support. And then float your torso up as you come up to seated in that beautiful extension. Woo! Good job. Back to seated. Arms stretch out. Let's do it 2 more times in that direction. We'll do it 1 more time in the opposite. So from this position, we tuck the pelvis, we roll down a few vertebrae, we keep going, thoracic spine comes onto the mat, head comes down, everything is nice and relaxed. Now we're gonna come into that spinal extension. So through the thoracic spine, head extends back slightly, no pes head. Go ahead and bend the arms to give yourself some more support. And we're gonna come up in that position. Good job, nice control of those abdominals. As you come up, we come back to a stacking spine, arms extend out. Let's do it 1 more time in this direction. We start by tucking the pelvis. We're gonna roll back, starting with the lower vertebrae, thoracic spine, shoulders come on the mat, head comes on the mat, we relax. We come into that back extension. So thoracic spine lifts up. We try to hold the curvature of the spine and the extension, elbows flex, and then we come back up to seated. Good job, straightening out the spine, arms stretch out. So let's do 1 in the opposite direction. So we're gonna start in that spinal extension. So nice proud chest, we're extending through the thoracic spine, head is slightly back, but it's not pes head. So you can go ahead and pull the elbows in for more support and start to lower down in that position. almost there. Head's gonna touch, and then we bring the shoulders down. Back comes into a neutral position. Elbows extend out in front, and then we start to roll up the way that we did the first time, coming into that C curve, holding that C curve up, coming back to seated, and stacking the spine. Head comes up last. Woo! Good job!
You did a good job.
I think that's all. I really hope I didn't miss anything. I think that's it. Okay.
I think you did everything, and I